Astro friends, here comes the Astro weather for the week in a bit of a twilight zone as the evening is rolling in today, the 2nd of October 2024. Yes, we have come through the annular solar eclipse, the Ring of Fire eclipse. How has it been for you? Libra, what have you noticed already in terms of choices, making better choices, letting go of options and dynamics and relationship patterns that are not serving the highest purpose, that are not in balance, not in harmony, not in reciprocity, not really bringing peace, right? So it has been a release eclipse. And what is to be released? Libran shadow, Libran lower vibrations. I went for a walk before and saw a friend, and she said I was offered this job. And yes, it's been really attractive, but it has a price to it that I'm not willing to pay. That is very Libra, and that's typically Libra South Node. Libra is now where the South Node is. Aries is where the North Node is, and that is encouraged. So in other words, really cultivating courage to move forward, to start fresh, to be authentic, to do something new or for the first time, and definitely take initiative while releasing what seems to be convenient, what seems to be the nice thing to do, or the agreeable thing to do, or the thing that makes you feel liked apparently, but it would be fake for you, it would be inauthentic. So this is what this eclipse is all about, and more of that to come as we are approaching in 2 weeks the full moon with Aries moon, Aries moon with Chiron and Aries in Aries, and the sun in Libra. So again, it's like a pseudo, almost eclipse, brings up the same theme, and it is a completion theme, just like a harvest moon, where things really come up that show us where is not the way forward, where negotiations are futile, and it doesn't serve the purpose to try to stay in dynamics where you're compromising yourself or where you are, basically projecting things onto other people, where way too much energy is wasted, is sucked out of you. While in contrast, you see doing something new and being authentic. That's the medicine. That's where we get energy from. Plus, also, we need to definitely heal the wounds of wars with Chiron in Aries and go back to the origin of wars and also the origin of wounds, right? So that can bring up early wounds, early in life, childhood, and infancy. And it's not easy. It can feel really raw and very vulnerable there. Yet this is a time to step forward rather than perpetuating suffering in the old outgoing Pisces age. And suffering often has to do with also perpetuating patterns of codependency, of dynamics between people where the known dynamics are being played out over and over again in relationships and otherwise. We need to come forward with our new authentic higher self, and if we want to move into a new era, we gotta be new ourselves, right? So all of this comes up with this Libra Aries dynamic. Today has been the annular solar eclipse. I show you the chart again. Here it is. Look at all this Libra cluster, Sun, Moon, Lilith also, and Mercury. Sun and Mercury came together on the 30th. They do that 3 times a year. wait a minute, they come together 6 times a year. They come together 3 times a year in this superior conjunction between the Mercury retro phases, where Mercury moves the fastest, and this can bring out lots of brilliance of mind, of ideas, of conversations. And with Libra, in general, very civil, very respectful and all that. Yet also, on the other hand, Aries, as I said, needs to be cultivated with a North Node, and this is where authenticity, courage, and new approaches come in. So rather than always just playing by the rules, playing nice and all this, right? Lilith also helps with that. Lilith comes also with the eclipse, and Lilith is known to be a wild woman archetype. So the new moon definitely catalyzed not just Mercury but Lilith, and that's more rare because Lilith has a 9-year cycle and is now in Libra since when Lilith is now in Libra end of June until end of March, I believe, next year. Okay, and 9 months. So Lilith in Libra helps us come into our relationship with our authentic, unconditioned self. What does that mean? So there's a little bit of a freezing effect here. I hope it doesn't affect the video. Anyway, Lilith in Libra helps us be really true to our wild and free and unconditioned nature. And this is also the relationship we really want, right? In other words, actually helps this whole Libra Aries dynamic. Then we have also in square with the new moon, with the eclipse moon, Mars in Aries. Mars rules Aries, but Mars is now in Cancer, in square with the eclipse. So Mars in Cancer doesn't have an easy time per se there. Mars is very passionate. It brings out lots of desires and gets us what we want. However, in Cancer, things can become very dependent on our emotions, and also our energy can fluctuate, and it can bring up a lot of tribal, that's very Cancer, tribal conflict actually, and even warfare or violence and all this. So we have to channel the energy and support that for the collective by using that Mars in Cancer energy, by proactively doing good self-care, being caring, being kind, and at the same time also being, passionate and going for what really nurtures us at the same time. So yeah, and so that is also in some sense a conflict with the Libra side, but it also helps catalyze the releasing of old Libra tendencies, right? And again, Mars rules Aries. This is where the North Node is now. And so it's all about authenticity. It's about warrior spirit. And it's also a good time to do something about your home. And Mars in Cancer can help us get lots of energy around making our home a cozier, more welcoming place, especially for the fall and winter. So what's up this week? We had the eclipse today. We have on October 5th, a Saturday, a square from Mercury in Libra with Mars in Cancer. So that can create some friction in communication, in dynamics with people, especially in relation to the family. But it's also a good time to rather than going into conflict and more division, which is already out there, to actually come together in a civil way with Mercury in Libra, to first maybe even come to our own peace of mind and a peaceful mind, a mind of peace from which we approach um, family members or people whom we relate to emotionally. That's the Cancer side. And yeah, and bring things up in a way of negotiating win-wins rather than just wants, right? Then we have now reached, actually today already, on October the 2nd. Usually it's October 3rd, but we have a leap year. So already on October 2nd today, we have reached the center of Libra, which has an Aquarius undertone. And that goes until October 12th. October 12th to 22nd, we have then the last part of Libra, which will have a Gemini undertone. But now we have the Aquarius undertone, which also brings out fairness, justice for humanity, for all, right? So all these human rights themes and justice in a world that is so far away from peace at many places on planet Earth. It's all about humanity and peace for humanity that we need so much, that we need to cultivate. Last year, in that segment from October 3rd to 12th, we had all these Hamas attacks in Israel, starting the big conflict in Gaza and all that warfare, and so many people have died innocently. So it's been like the opposite of what this is about. And so it's now brought up again, and hopefully, finally, things are shifting, not necessarily in the next 10 days, but that this is a starting point also with the eclipse, right? And interestingly, the eclipse today is also in the Jewish tradition, Rosh Hashanah at sundown. What I understand from reading and talking to Jewish friends is that this is the beginning of the Jewish New Year, and that is also a time of releasing old wrongdoings, especially, and it's the head of the year, so things start fresh. Why not a whole different approach in that Middle Eastern area? Let's pray for all this, and for the sake of humans who are so violently affected by this. And what's also going on this week is the moon will go from Libra to Scorpio on Friday the 4th at 4:22 a.m. That's the moon goes over what I call the tipping point. So that might literally mean you make choices, the scales tip, and you're going into something that you've been pondering about or sitting on the fence about and weighing the options. So this is the time to actually go into it. It's also an alchemy energy. It's magic there, Libra, Scorpio. The ingredients come together and create something really juicy and magical. And the moon will also meet Venus. Venus is now in Scorpio since the 22nd of September until October 17th. And that is actually the full moon, next full moon, supermoon. So the moon in Scorpio will meet Venus on in the morning of October 5th of Saturday. But on Friday evening, if skies are clear, we can see the beautiful young moon, young, in other words, newly waxing, newly visible sliver of the moon meeting Venus. So the planet next to the moon is Venus. That is a beautiful connection for, yeah, love, depth of love, intimacy, magic, and wonder. And at the same time, though, caveat, both Venus and the moon are per se not so happy in Scorpio. The moon has a bad rep in Scorpio. It's in fall. She is exalted in Taurus. And Venus is also furthest away from her Taurian home. So this can also attract us to all sorts of rabbit holes, right? So make it something really deep and magical, and dive right into the heart of the matter, where you can be open to expose also certain sides of yourself that you otherwise hide and not show. And but it's beautiful. Moon Venus per se are a wonderfully auspicious energy for the weekend. The moon will then leave Scorpio and go over what's called the Phoenix Point on Sunday afternoon, Sunday the 6th at 4:34 p.m. And that is when energy really rises, when we feel more expansive, more trusting. We understand what's going on, what has been going on, what we've been processing maybe under the Scorpio moon. We get the picture, we see the story, and we can also outgrow all that funk. Then the moon will be in Sagittarius until next Wednesday, the 9th, when she goes into Capricorn. Speaking of next week, very quick preview, because next week will be again massive. This week is kind of more easygoing after that eclipse which just came through. But of course, the eclipse effects, they roll out over not just days, but weeks and months, right? So check where the eclipse is in your chart, where 10 degrees are, 10 degrees of Libra in your chart. That is also where release and, in a way, also renewal happens when it comes to choices. And so speaking of next week again, so next week will be massive because we have the turnaround of Jupiter going retrograde at about 21 degrees of Gemini on the 9th of October, while Pluto at the very end of Capricorn will go direct on October 11th. So both planets are stationary next week, especially, but throughout the whole month of October. Jupiter in Gemini is a lot about so many voices out there. Also, this whole question about freedom of speech and of diverging opinions and values, right? That is so much up now. And then the Pluto in Capricorn theme, the very last leg of Pluto in Capricorn before it leaves Capricorn for 240 years. That will be until November 19th. This is super critical now when Pluto goes forward again. So again, power to change, right? So we have cultivated inner strength and resilience with Pluto retrograde and accessed old power dynamics, hopefully also processed those. And we can move forward to make changes where needed, where we need to build from a Capricorn perspective something that is lasting, that's sustainable, that is very reliable, is also Capricorn. But we are also releasing the symptoms of the what I call the old empire. So in other words, governmental and otherwise hierarchical structures that are built on control and subordination and repression. And so this is a time of change, and we will definitely feel the shift of Pluto going forward, and then even more so of Pluto going into Aquarius on November 19th. And so these two are massive next week, and they also constitute the culmination of the retro record phase of the year. Every year, typically these years end of summer now towards autumn is the phase when most planets are retro. This time it started in end of August and throughout September with 5 planets retro. At some point it was even 6 when Mercury was retro, and Uranus also went retro. No, Uranus went retro after Mercury. Okay. So, but, okay, I have a little theme here with my camera. And so we already have 5 planets retro, and now that will be 6 planets retro with Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and Chiron also. So all of those retrograde in that window, and then as Pluto goes forward, will be 5 again, and 5, 4, and 5 until the end of the year. So this will be quite a retro phase again. Why is that important? What's with that retro active energy? It's about really going inward and finding these archetypal themes within. Like with Pluto, it's about power. With Saturn, it's about authority. With Neptune, it's about connection. With Chiron, it's about our medicine. With Uranus, it's about freedom. What else? With Jupiter, it's our values and our truth. And so to find those within so that we can then express them externally as these planets go forward again. And so that's it for today. A little shorter because the week is not as dramatic and intense as next week. But I'll get back to all this, and yeah, hope to see you in real life. I saw a few people today. It was wonderful on walks, friends, clients, and so on. It's been a beautiful day. And of course, also in private sessions. On that note, I have a special on because Libra is the sign that deals with the relationships. So I have a special for relationship sessions October 2nd to 22nd, all relationship sessions for couples, for partners, for you and your loved ones. And that can be you and your child, that can be you and your partner, you and your friend. So any relationship dynamics, and also for solo people who want to explore their own relationship themes. All of these sessions are 11% discounted until the 22nd of October, the end of Libra season. And this offer is on my Facebook page as an event. And yeah, so also speaking of, the link to the Facebook event, Facebook Astro page is down below here in the description, as well as the link to blog articles for all these special and individual astro alignments, especially the eclipse, but then also Mercury going eventually into Scorpio, Venus having gone into Scorpio, Mercury having gone into Libra, where it is right now. So I have articles for all of this on my blog. Check it out. And if you want to get the whole comprehensive view of the time between new moon and full moon, get in touch with me and you can receive the Astro News newsletter that goes out for every new moon and full moon and covers these 2 weeks with lots of resources and info. You're most welcome to join the subscriber list. I leave it with this, and I hope you have a beautiful week and a beautiful, magical time as we're going into the season, into the warmer, cozier indoor season as the leaves are dancing and turning, and it's a beautiful time to be out during the day, but also indoors. Have a beautiful week. I wish you well. Bye bye.